All right, well, we're here at Gear West with David, and we're just going to go over a little bit of the race season, and we're actually in the basement of Gear West, which is one of David's sponsors, one of the biggest tri shops here in the Midwest. And I guess, David, let's just start right at the beginning. You know, coming into '07, what were your main goals, and you know, what were you thinking about as you crafted your season, which is pretty long and a lot of races?
I think the A race is lifetime. The hometown crowd, and it's one of the races that's showcased for national, international scene. So that's the one race that I'd like to do well at. And then there were a lot of races kind of packed around lifetime that you'd like to kind of hold that fitness through. And so a lot of the other races I use just to stay in shape, and it's a great way to train and also hopefully earn some money as well.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I have the whole list of races that you did, and I'd like to start right off kind of at the beginning, because you've done duathlons, you keep doing duathlons, which a lot of triathletes actually end up not doing. And so tell us a little bit about, you did Richmond, and then you did Powerman, which you actually won, and tell us how duathlons played into your season this year.
I actually like duathlons. I kind of think of it as kind of like the spring season, or like classics for bike racing. The weather's usually kind of cold and nasty, and you usually can't get in the lakes, so it's kind of more of a tough man's race, if you will, in a sense, at least around here with the weather. And Powerman, Alabama has been a fun race for me. It's got a great bike course and some good competition, so I look at it as a good way to kind of kick off the season.
All right. Well, looking, kind of down the list of triathlons, once we got into April, you did St. Anthony's, came in 8th. And then we got to the first 101 series, which was a big series, for this year that a lot of people were hoping would do well, and you actually came off and you've got your first win there. So tell us a little bit about that experience. Again, the Cave won it on the women's side, but tell us about that Bradenton race.
It's still early in the year for me, but it being a longer race, I do have more base miles in at that time of the year, and my first race of the year was Ralph's, and I figured I knew I wasn't going to do that well at Ralph's, but I guess people had, one of the online forums had picked me to win, or at least whatever, win the top 25%. And I didn't know where they were getting their information from, but no. So Ralph's was more of a training race for me, and kind of just gave me a gauge of where I was going to be. So I figured I would do well at 101, but it was a little surprising that I did as well as I did.
We were keeping track of David here in Minneapolis through the Slow Twitch online kind of race update, and it seemed like you just kind of rode off the front and stayed in that position. So.
Yeah, I don't know where it was when Marino Van Hohenacker caught me at, I don't know, like 60, and it's kind of like, well, maybe I'm getting tired, but I think he kind of rode himself into trouble riding up to me, and so he passed me, and then I passed him back, and kind of, I was able to actually ride a little faster, or he, bonked a little bit, and then kept running, which was good for me. So that was a great experience.
Okay, so that was kind of at the beginning of May. Then you did a few of the kind of local classics for us here, and the Gear West Duathlon, and also the Apple Duathlon. And then you went out and you did Alcatraz the weekend before the next 101. So tell us just a little bit about Alcatraz. Obviously, that's like a big kind of race in our sport, as far as it's really different. It doesn't really have many of the same distances as any other races. So tell us a little bit about your experience there.
I think Alcatraz is a race that everyone has to do once, kind of like Hawaii. It's totally different, different than any other race, and it really can't be categorized or put into a box in a sense. But that's always a really hard swim just because of the current, so I think the swimmers like it because it's that long swim, and if you don't have much of a tailing current, it can be 35, 38 minutes, so a really long swim for a relatively short bike, and then a long run, but it's not really like a fast runner's run, it's more of a strength runner, so even like a guy like Andy Potson maybe doesn't run as fast as Bevan Doherty, who's really strong, can stay out in front on the run. It's a very hilly and technical bike course. You get a flat right on the park out of Kriski Field there, and then immediately you hit the hill up to the base of Golden Gate, which is steep at parts, and then kind of tailors off, and then do a curvy descent down to Baker Beach or China Beach. No, Baker Beach, China Beach. I can't remember which one comes first. And then up another hill, steep section, and then through kind of a residential neighborhood by a golf course, and then down another kind of couple 90-degree steep San Francisco descent down to China Beach and then into the Golden Gate Park, where you don't get those steep hills, but it's a gradual incline through a weaving road. So it's not like in Minnesota where you can just put your head down and crank for 10 miles, take a right, go 10 miles, and then go. You have to keep your head up the whole race, and it's really hard on your legs, from climbing. And then hopefully if you want to go fast, you have to take a couple risks on the downhills, carry your momentum.
All right.